Imagine waking up one day, looking up at the sky and seeing a 3D hologram of your favorite religious figure saying, "Hey, it's time for the New World Order. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe." That's the basic idea behind one of the wildest theories ever posted on the internet without using Comic Sans, Project Bluebeam. According to this theory, world governments, led by NASA because apparently astronauts have nothing better to do, will use advanced holograms, satellites, and mind control frequencies to fake a giant global religious event. These sky holograms are supposed to convince everyone that the new Messiah has arrived. Then once we're all spiritually bamboozled, we get a unified world religion, followed by one world government, and of course, a universal subscription fee to live here on Earth. The idea comes from a 1990s journalist named Serge Monast, who claimed he uncovered the plan. Unfortunately, he died mysteriously of a heart attack after writing about it, which is either suspicious or just a reminder that we should all take better care of ourselves. The theory says this isn't just holograms. No, that would be too normal. We're talking about low-frequency waves beaming thoughts into our brains, which makes you wonder if you can even control your thoughts. Why hasn't anyone invented a device to make us stop arguing on Twitter? There's even a bonus round, a fake alien invasion. Yeah, apparently after the hologram Messiah shows up, the government might project UFOs into the sky to scare us into behaving. So basically, step 1, religious hologram. Step 2, space laser alien threat. Step 3, world domination. Step 4, merch? Now, is any of this true? We'll explore the tech, the evidence, and if we can actually do this with lasers and satellites. Spoiler, we can make a hologram of Mickey Mouse on the moon, but we can't even keep Wi-Fi stable. So buckle up. Whether Project Bluebeam turns out to be real, a clever hoax, or just NASA's version of performance art, we're about to shine a high-definition holographic spotlight on it. Also, hit the subscribe before the New World Order makes it mandatory. Oh, you got tinfoil hat and everything, Ian. That's awesome.
That doesn't show up very well.
It doesn't show up with the green, with the virtual background. It's trying to
turn off the background so you could see it. This is really just to protect the episode, not just me. I'm doing this for the group. It's entirely possible that the government is going to target everybody here with low frequency waves,
right,
and make us deny everything. And
they're already doing that. Don't you know this?
Yeah.
They bought the Havana syndrome.
The Havana syndrome. Yeah, I was going to get into that too, because that's one of the conspiracy theories around Project Bluebeam, is that that's part of the test runs, which people claimed when we invaded, or not invaded, but when we went to kidnap Maduro in Venezuela, that people had Havana syndrome while the grab and go was going on. So maybe there's something to that. Everyone started feeling nauseous and sick. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to talk about Project Bluebeam tonight. The conspiracy theory that back in the 90s, this one guy from Canada figured it all out because he apparently got information from a leaked NASA document that only he had eyes on, that no one else has ever seen. And he read a whole book about it and claimed that the New World Order is coming to take over the whole entire world. And he laid out how, which was called Project Bluebeam. So yeah, we're going to go through it and talk about all the kind of fringe conspiracy theories, how plausible it is, whether or not any of this technology actually exists, or if we know about it. I mean, obviously we don't know. But yeah, just kind of get thoughts. So, I mean, before we get into anything, what's everybody's initial BS meter? I mean, is this imminent or?
Yeah.
I think he put together a story that people would have fun believing in, or at least pretending to believe in, because there are a bunch of little things that feed into this, considering the time period, what happened since post-World War II and everything. There's a lot of little things that feed into this that are fun to, I won't say believe in, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But all around BS.
Right. So we'll get to the first part of the theories. I mean, step one was the religious figures. So the idea was that in order to form a new world order, now he claimed that this new world order is led by the Masons, by a sect of the Masons that go by 666 as their symbol, mark of the beast, Antichrist type stuff. in order to conquer the entire world. This is all in his papers and books. Fun stuff. But yeah, the whole idea was that religious figures would appear as holographic images in the sky, and that they would curtail the images to different regions in the world. So it might be Jesus, it might be Buddha, it might be Allah, it might be Krishna, just depending on where in the world these holographic images were being beamed to. And the idea was that then, they could blast that this is the coming of these gods or god figures and form a unified world religion out of it.
Why does this feel like an American Dad episode?
Yeah,
Is that
for
the
sure.
one where they sometimes have the multiple deities up in heaven commenting on things? Yeah,
pretty much.
What Alan just talked about.
I'll say that our first hole in the theory, like there's only one God in some religions. So then if you are casting all of these gods, then all of a sudden belief is going to go away.
So here's the twist, is that they would have all these gods and then they would all start to eventually merge together over a course of like a week into one unified entity.
What the hell?
And then this entity would declare all other religions as false, and humanity would be told to accept the new religion.
I mean,
I did not read enough about this.
As a theory, it works.
There's so many things going on.
There's so many things. So, talk about real world examples from this. I mean, do we have satellites that can project holograms? No, but can we do holograms? Yeah, I mean, we've had hologram concerts. We've had that technology now for a couple of years. I mean, decades where they've had
what you can do with drones now and projection, like
drone projections. Yeah, that's one thing that people point to. Another thing people point to, it's the Starlink program by Elon Musk. And how they have so many satellites now that this actually, now we have the network that could do something like this, if that's the second objective of these things besides cell phones, that they could then have enough of them that could project, kind of like a drone swarm.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. Some of us live close to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Everybody here on the show tonight has been there before. And they have a ton of money because you know how much everything costs there.
Yep.
And they had it at least a couple years ago, maybe they still have it, like this kids rave dance party concert thingy, which is a lot of laser lights, but also has like some holographic projection type stuff that they advertise. And with all the money that they have, it is so clear that holograms that you almost can't even call them that. So Busch Gardens can't pull it off with all their money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Busch Gardens really doesn't have that much money. They've been trying to sell out again for many years and have not been able to do it. So
it's because they spent too much on the laser light show.
Yeah.
holograms and they're going bankrupt.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of one of those far-fetched ones. I don't know many religious people that would just give up all their convictions because of something like this. In fact, in the modern age, I think that people have leaned even further to skepticism, especially with deepfakes and AI videos and all the slop out there. I think immediately people would be like, that's bullshit. Like, I don't think this would unify. Maybe in the 90s. At the same token, people are really gullible and they will just label stuff automatically. Anytime someone lights a firework in a neighborhood, there are a million people that get online and say, gunshots, gunshots, gunshots. So, it is... Right. There are people that will just like really jump on things that aren't true really fast. So would you be able to fake an entire populace? No.
Well, you don't have to. We've all read Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point, or at least you should have. You don't have to convince everybody, but there is a number of people you have to convince plus one to kind of get the masses to all roll behind it. Yeah. But even then, I don't think this would have. And so we have hindsight now to look back at the 90s, right? The government and big business and everything, they don't always reveal their latest and greatest gadgets and technology, right? But over time, we get an idea of what they used to have.
Yeah.
So we're in 2026, looking back at the mid 90s. I mean, think about the video games we were playing then, how advanced our one computer in the school was.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, just really breaking into internet, getting the internet mailed to us on CDs and floppy disks.
And video games were talked about in bits.
Right.
Yeah.
You had to get how many of the 3.5 floppies to be able to play Doom?
Oh,
And you had to
probably
boot
like 5
it
to 7
in
or
DOS
something.
mode.
In DOS
Right.
mode, yeah. Yeah.
So
pretty
I
crazy.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's a stretch that technology was there, but the fear was there. So
Sure.
putting this theory out there and getting people to buy into it, you know, even if
Pretty
you're just
easy.
trying to sell books, it was kind of prime time for it, because people were, all right, if you back up to like post World War II, you know, in the late 40s, we had Project Blue Book in the
Yes.
Air Force that lasted till like the end of the 60s, where they were
UFO cataloging.
looking at every UFO sighting and report across the U.S. and
Ooh.
documenting. And even out of that, there were hundreds that they could never truly explain.
Yeah.
And then
Congress has had hearings even this year about unexplained UAPs and UFOs.
right. So people are excited about that. And it's not quite total science fiction. You already got people believing parts of this could be true. And then during the Cold War, you have all the experimentation. Now let's get into the mind manipulation part.
We'll get
We're
there.
not there yet.
We're not there yet. You're jumping ahead. We're still on false messiah.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's start
We
at the
got to
whole
that part of
idea,
it.
like the idea of undermining every single religious practice in the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like you literally are talking about, first off, holograms. Back in the 90s, like the idea of holograms is huge. Like
Sure.
we all thought in the 90s, by the time we got to 2020, we'd be in flying cars and we would be seeing holograms in the sky. That would be, our commercials would be just out there in the air, and like you literally have to buy airtime. And we thought that we'd be able to like travel to the moon or to Mars, or like we had all these grandeur ideas, you know, just the same as we thought that, you know, when we switched from 1999 to 2000, we were going to lose all of our computers. Like there's like this idea, and that idea in the 90s definitely would have grown. If Project Bluebeam would have just hit the shelves a little bit harder, there probably would have been a lot more people going, well, yeah, but then I have to give up my religion. And, you know, religion and faith is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And
And I just don't see it. I mean, I don't see it, but like you said, tipping point, who knows? I mean, the scary thing, the funny thing about it is this was published in 1994. It's eerily very similar, and I found this in doing my research, to the exact screenplay, almost like word for word, of an episode called "The Devil's Due," and that was aired in 1991, 3 years before this, on Star Trek: Next Generation. So it's like he watched TV and was like, "Ooh, what if this really happened? Oh, NASA wrote a paper. I want to write a paper saying NASA did it." I'm not saying that's what happened, but
he fell asleep watching
But it's all
Star
lining
Trek
up.
one night, and he woke up thinking it was, you know, his
that he came
original
up with
idea.
it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And okay, sticking to the religious leader thing, if this happened, so many people would be unwilling to take that step on their own. They would look to see if other people are taking the step. They would look at other religious leaders. Let's look at one of the biggest religious powerhouses in the world that's been around for a long time, the Vatican.
Catholics, yeah.
Would they just stand by and be like, "Oh, well, let's explore this"? And no. Now, years later, with all
there'd
these
be a holy war
advances,
for that one week.
and there's enough evidence, I put air quotes on that like there probably are life forms to some extent, bacteria, microbial, whatever, outside of what's on Earth, right? So even the Vatican came out, I want to say 2010 or a little bit before that. They had some astronomer, you know, speaking on behalf of the Vatican, that essentially said, look, if there's aliens, that doesn't prove that there's no religion or that there was no God, the God they believe in, or no Jesus. And they even went down the rabbit hole of like, you know, our God's a creative God. He could have created a bunch of other things. Now, that doesn't mean they experience that relationship with God the same way we do here on Earth. maybe they were created at a different time and they're more righteous and they didn't need saving the way humans needed saving. So that same God created a Jesus for us to save us, but he didn't necessarily need to create a Jesus to go save the Martians from whatever because they're more righteous. So like,
you
ever see that meme?
Later, but they've been ready to defend and Christianity, at least, and a lot of other religions have always been able to assimilate to new situations, new politics, new science.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know that you'd reach
the cope.
Have you ever seen that meme where like it talks about like we meet aliens and like the first question is like, do you believe in Jesus? And they're like, oh yeah, he comes to our planet like once a year. We give him chocolate. It's awesome. And like, he's like, does he come? He's like, he doesn't come to our planet. He goes, what'd you do to him? And he's like,
what'd you do last time he was here? Yeah. Yeah, he's so nice. Visits all the time.
Visits all the time.
He's only been here once.
Yeah, he's only been here once. Yeah. Anyway, it's a funny meme out there. But yeah, so let's move on to, I guess, point number 2, which is the fake alien invasion. The final act, as they call it, the blockbuster version. So here we had simulated UFO attacks on major cities, directed energy weapons disguised as alien tech, and real military hardware used to blame non-human intelligence. Basically, a lot of the stuff that is classified right now that we already have, but then just coming out in full force and then blaming aliens for it.
They make it all at Camp Perry.
Yeah, they make it all at Camp Perry.
They do.
Which would create an instant global panic. It justifies unifying the military and governance structure across the world to fight this common enemy, and positions all the world leaders as protectors of humanity, as a way of just kind of think Independence Day. The world comes together to fight off the alien invasion. Our District 9. Which not as good as an example as a Unify, but another example of like invasion. So that's more of a humanity and look District 9 is than you see Independence Day, which is definitely like the unifying the world against the alien attack. And that's one of those things that like, some people will point to the claim that like some UFOs people see is actually military tech, and this is just test runs for all of this to create mass hysteria. You go back to New Jersey with all the drones that were showing up everywhere and all the drone spotting a couple years ago. Some people say that's a test run for Project Bluebeam. Some conspiracy theorists say that.
People were talking about Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, people were talking
about not on a lot of people, but there was an itch.
I miss those giant weather balloons.
Yeah, the giant weather balloons
anymore.
Yeah, I miss the giant weather balloons. Yeah, so things like that. That people say were test runs, and then it even goes further into even more recently in the last few weeks. I saw on some forums that with Verizon going down and today Microsoft going down and everybody losing email, and last week everybody losing their cell phone, were just other test runs on how much we can. Even people say COVID-19 pandemic, that there's conspiracy theories that's part of Project Bluebeam as well. That's to see how well they can get the whole entire populace.
How much testing do they need?
Yeah, how can you get the whole populace to?
It's also conditioning. You're doing a little bit here, a little bit there. You don't come out with the big pow right off the bat because people will be like, well, "That's absurd." But it's like the slowly boiling a frog. You desensitize them to more and more BS.
But I feel like that he's also going for the Independence Day shock and awe to like the external threat is what brings us together.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah,
or at least allows for slippery slope of laws and stuff.
Well, I mean, so
on that note, I do believe, and Jared, if you want to get into like false flag ridiculousness, there's room for it here. Do I believe either our government or governments in general would intentionally create a problem or fake a problem in order to get more control, in order to influence the population to XYZ? Like, yes,
absolutely.
I absolutely believe that.
We're headed that direction now.
Many people's, the real conspiracy theorists out there right now would chime in with 100 different things that are BS and just our government trying to control us and lying to us, and all around the world, there's people that believe that. So that, I don't think that part's a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly think in our foreign policy,
Sure,
that's easy.
Yeah.
Right. Locally, I don't know. The Supreme Court thinks we're still working within the framework, so.
Right.
See, again, Project Bluebeam. They tell you they think that, but actions speak louder than words, right? So if you look at the results in the last 20 years, it's like, I don't know, man.
Right.
Now you do what they told you.
Look, all I'm going to say
now you
is
do what they told you.
Jefferson never intended on the Constitution to last longer than 19 years. So,
yeah, true.
Anyway, it was supposed to be rewritten every 2 decades, essentially.
It was supposed to have radical changes as society changed.
Correct.
It was built that way.
And I feel like the only people that really have radical changes are the government. And that's why I feel like we definitely have some weapons of mass destruction and weapons of trickery that are definitely hidden in specific locations that we normal people do not know about. I know some people that have seen some sketches and diagrams and things of stuff in the early 80s even that we're now thinking about in the 2020s. And it's like, as regular people, we're like, yeah, those will exist eventually. The military is like, yeah, we've been developing those for over 50 years.
Yeah. Hey, look, we need to keep our society productive for long periods of time. Let's sell them on. Now this is going to be a 2-parter. We're going to hit them with American Dream and 30-year mortgage. Yeah. Oh no, people are getting like much older. Like medicine's too good. What do we do? Hold on. 50-year mortgage.
Hear me out.
Double the terms.
I think Pulte came up in his writings, didn't he? Bill Pulte.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about that now.
So
average first-time homebuyer now is age 40.
Yeah.
Well, I had 3 by then. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, age 40.
I got lucky with the first 2, not going to lie.
Yeah. I think you have to give one away now.
Yeah. So next conspiracy claim, the mind control, mass mind control, neutral frequency. And this goes to, like we talked about already, the Havana.
You see this?
Sick. Cell phones,
you see this?
Social media controlling people.
You see this? We are all being controlled.
I mean, we can even talk about the brown note. Here. I mean, if you want to get there, we can talk about the brown note. There's a whole conspiracy theory about the brown note that the government designed for crowd control, a frequency that they can play. And they did Mythbusters about this. That is there a frequency you can play that makes everybody crap their pants because it's the perfect frequency that just loosens the bowels. It's called the brown note.
Is there?
They couldn't find it on Mythbusters. They tried. They couldn't.
Is there an app for that? Because about 6:15 every morning, I could use that for about 3 to 5 minutes. It would make my morning routine go a lot faster.
Let me tell you, the chaos I would create.
Oh, I would prank people so bad. Alan, you would get a phone call 6 times a day. It would just be that frequency.
Drive by brown noting.
Are you in a meeting?
That's like the today is apparently the anniversary of somebody else like using the restroom on himself on live TV, and I'm like, we probably shouldn't talk about that, but at the same time, now that we've talked about it, it's like, oof. We should do that. We should definitely find this sound, and then we can use it to our advantage.
They tried to Mythbusters. They couldn't find it. But then again, that's regular TV. So that could be the mass media once again.
Correct.
False flags.
They were looking in the wrong place. It's the same note that they used around the walls of Jericho.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
the residents.
Same thing. Those were the trumpets that were.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at resonance and sound resonation, there are things, I mean, glass shattering with certain tones and things like that. If you find the right resonance of the inanimate object that you are, it will structurally break apart. That's not an unknown science. That's physics.
I mean,
everything does
music theory.
We run entire watches based on resonance. A quartz resonates at a certain frequency that actually, which makes a clock tick close to a second, and that's how we're able to get time close enough. Atomic clocks, of course, more accurate than quartz are, but that's the closest natural occurring resonance. It's close, But yeah, so that's physics that's been around for a long time. Now, is there a human resonance that would cause humans to
absolutely?
Yeah, I'm sure there might be. It's not. That's not that far
be
fetched.
super targeted to like a system within our body. That'd be so hard to do.
Well, but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you look at music therapy theory, you play a sound, the body reacts. The shape of the cells shift. The mood changes. So do I feel like there could be some form of telepathy or telepathic trickery or something where we would be encouraged highly and potentially caused to do something? Yeah.
I mean, the idea behind this was the frequencies would induce fear, awe, and religious experiences.
I mean, all you do is play the right rock music and like you can incite some of those
that level. I think it could be done. Back in the day before everybody was streaming, if you used to watch cable TV and you fell asleep watching TV, depending on the channel you were on, you'd wake up and it was Sarah McLachlan like singing her heart out to save the dogs and animals.
Yes.
And if that wasn't the perfect song for that movement, it will every time. Look, I'm driving down the road and I see a stray dog, and I'm like, in the arms of
exactly. The fact that we all know the song, like,
fly
there
away.
you go. And that was just basic television. You give the government the authority, the right to use the weapons or the tools that they have. Of course.
Yeah. How about the YouTube videos targeting kids where people were putting like subliminal background stuff like kill yourself?
Yes.
And I don't know the stats on if it actually had any effect, but certainly people tried to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and the government has, I mean, there's been declassified papers. It will do a whole episode on MK Ultra about the government, which is declassified. That's one project that is declassified, that whether it's successful or not, that's not really in the papers, but there is declassified papers about the CIA trying to use TV and modern media, or at least back in the 60s and 70s, to control the populace.
Try. That's how they were triggering all the sleepers.
Like I said in the beginning, which makes the Project Bluebeam thing neat or fun, there are these different things that funnel into it, that there's other conspiracies and some things that have been proven that we did try to do as a government that kind of make it almost believable, like fun to toy with. So MK Ultra is one of them. I started getting into this earlier, like Cold War stuff. We're battling against the unknown of what the USSR is doing. So we hear rumor that they're teaching their guys to be telepathic and do remote viewing and to be able to read minds and stuff like that. And we don't know the limits of science, but we hear that this might be a threat. So what do? We try to do it ourselves. A ton of money and manpower is put into trying to do telepathy, try to read minds. People that proclaim to be psychics or whatever were paid gobs of money by 3-letter agencies, to try and help solve things and develop those programs. We gave DMT drips to people trying to see what was happening in a silo. In Uzbekistan, So
I mean, if you think about it, the mind is a very powerful tool. If you think of the undermining of religions and trying to get religions to align, the easiest way to do this is to trigger like that mass chaos. And, you don't really have to use telepathy. You can just trick the mind. So you put enough images on TV, you put enough images in the news, you put enough images on social media, you put that message out there repeatedly, things are going to happen. I was just reading a paper not too long ago where there's a study on people who, rather than lift weights for an hour, they thought about their muscles growing, and they actually had a 13% growth in their muscles over 2 weeks.
Placebo effect.
Does this work for all parts of the body?
Also, you can encourage to grow.
Also, for the remote viewing, we will do Project Stargate at some point too, as well. So
I assume we'd get on that.
Yeah, we'll get on that too.
Sign me up.
These are all other episodes we will do eventually.
So telepathy, can you definitely manipulate and control people's mind? For sure. We do it all the time, every day.
You can nudge and influence. I definitely believe that.
There's been cases of mass hysteria throughout history multiple times. There's been cases of and you can see it on a modern example of political ideologies and things like that, like where people are, it almost seems like they're brainwashed. Less so in younger generations than in older generations, and I'm not meaning to pick on the boomers, but like you can see, like even with political ideologies, like they refuse to hear anything counter.
My nephew argued with us for 45 minutes that mermaids were 100% real because he saw one on TikTok.
Episode on mermaids coming soon.
Episode on don't believe everything you see on TikTok to follow.
Was it the one I made? Because I made a mermaid one for TikTok.
Look, even your friend believes in it.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I mean, thoughts. I mean, I guess that you kind of wrap up thoughts on the mind control piece. I mean, obviously, I mean, the idea is to make basically that it's instead of force people to comply, make it feel like it's your idea. Just manipulation using media, and then they also said with like mind control devices and things like that.
I mean, the way he delivered it, huge stretch. I still think kind of BS. Right. But I think it does lead you to some pretty interesting conversations about what actually has been done in that realm.
Right. Now, one of the other darker religious spins, and I think we talked about this a little bit, versus just having religious figures and creating a new unified religion, is the simulated second coming event, where you actually take Christianity aspect of it and make it the Messiah and the second coming. The idea would be faith outside the event becomes extremist. So like people who don't believe are now the extreme, or the extremists, and get chastised.
That's what popular culture is all about.
And if you look at
the goal is control, that would not work, because you would always have a large enough population that would decide that is worth fighting about. Even if there's a minority group that because they believe in the traditional stuff and they're not buying into this, that's going to turn into a fighting minority.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even thinking about some countries that have become like more theocracies. Like you think about Iran and things like that, which you have Islamic theocracies, where it is a national religion. There is still rebellious sects with it. The Zoroasters, which were originally in Persia, where Iran is today, still exist there. They are definitely
right, and they didn't sign up for the religion of the state. They're still doing their thing.
So
yeah, shoot. Even I've told Chris, you and Alan, I've at least told you before, when I was in Iraq in 2006 and 2007, I took a trip to Nineveh, which where Jonah ended up going, and I thought that would just be it. In my mind, I was still like, okay, none of that belief is still really around here. Well, I guess that's still part of the Islamic belief. But we got to tour this Coptic Christian church there.
Yeah.
That had been there for a very long time. And like even under Saddam, like they didn't touch them. They knew they were there, let them exist. They've been practicing forever and ever. Anyways. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. You're never gonna get everybody to
fringes theory, reality overdrive via global media sync, that basically all the global media all gets in sync together, controlled by the government. And the theory is that the illusion doesn't need to be physical, that every screen will show the same event. All social platforms will reinforce it. AI bots will
That's why we took Venezuela and we're going after Greenland.
An eyewitness testimony will appear everywhere. And basically it becomes like either you believe or you're crazy through social media.
All right.
Who's seen the video? They allow TikTok to continue to exist.
Who's seen the video about all the interviews where the locals are seriously trying to convince you that they saw a leprechaun in a tree in Mobile,
Mobile, Alabama. Yeah.
Yep. Right. So doing a bunch of interviews, you could get people to say anything. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my other favorite thing is when you talk about the media just has one script that everybody reads. There's been a couple of different clips on certain topics where they go to local channel journalists and they play one after the other, and their delivery slightly different because they have their different look and different vibe, but they are reading the script, hundreds of them, all over the U.S.
Gone to church at a different church and then watch my church online and then watch my grandmother's church online and gotten the same message delivered 3 different ways. Exact same verses, just a different way of delivery. It's happening everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of centralized message delivery, we're there. It's happening in religious culture. Chris, you nailed it. But even in the secular world, absolutely. There's been, they found out a while ago, like to truly influence and control, you got to control the media. Churches are still a way to get a unified message out there.
Sure.
That used to be the primary way.
Used to be, yeah.
But now, more secular is, what's on CNN, what's on Fox News. I think there's 3 people still watching MSNBC.
Yeah.
This right here, this device alone. This is why they took advantage and moved it as quickly as they could. Is because they can literally do everything and control everyone from something in your pocket.
Oh, your phone. When you picked that up, there was a picture of you and your spouse, and I thought you were talking about a controlling spouse for a moment.
Well, there's that too. If enough of them get together, they can definitely. I was talking to another friend of mine, and he's like, I just don't have many friends yet. And I'm like, don't worry. You just had your first child.
Yeah.
Your friend group will quickly grow. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you don't have many friends right now because your wife is an introvert, but your daughter's not going to be. I was like, give it about 6 years. You'll have
and your kids' friends will have parents that you're going to be hanging around.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, talk about like eyewitness testimony and what you're saying. Like, you can get anyone to say anything. We have a friend of ours, Ian and I do, who, I guess, during a hurricane disaster, like power's out everywhere, decided to be funny just for social experiment. Like, he got a empty case of Bud Light and like a toilet paper roll as a microphone and just started walking around interviewing people, like what they thought about the disaster. And like the camera was holding a case of Bud Light, and he was holding a toilet paper roll like a microphone, and they were dead serious because they were excited to be on TV, thinking they were actually on TV, giving full interviews, being completely serious about it. Yeah. And it was the most hilarious thing in the entire world because it was just.
We thought at best people would go along with it as a joke, and you could tell they were joking, but no, people were seriously getting interviewed.
So, talk about getting like eyewitness testimony. It's not hard.
Our populace is not the brightest. I mean, we have people leading us. That is what's necessary, and they're supposed to be the brightest. And so
they're supposed to be. But this
is just don't trust anybody. Well, I do kind of trust the verify people. At best. Yeah. Like Alan and Chris, I'll put you in this category also. I've known you all long enough. I talk to you enough. I know you all are very intelligent people that think things through before you put your name on what you're saying. But even still, I know sometimes you could be full of it, maybe intentionally to mess with me. So anything that y'all say, I'll play along and be like, all right. And in my mind, I'm like, need to check that out. Verify that.
Go look it up. Yeah.
Right. What kind of joke is Alan pulling today?
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, the in-game theory, basically the final, the final thing. I mean, we talked about this is kind of the combination of all of it. You don't conquer the world, you rescue it. Between the fake cosmic alien threat, the engineered collapse, financially, digitally, socially, that would be engineered as well to have everything collapse. Emergency global authority to get everything back going and rebuild a new world with new rules, new currency, new beliefs.
I mean, we're getting to that point where we need to
basically collapse everything down to rebuild it from scratch.
I mean, we used to do that with war, but now we've become too intellectual. We've gotten too many mass weapons. We've gotten too many ways of like annihilating too many people. It used to be, you know, we have a recession, a depression, a war, reset. And we're trying to do the same thing now. Like we're testing it. We're trying to get there where everybody's feeling it. But if it doesn't work, Project Bluebeam might be the answer.
But what's the new version of it? This is what I was thinking of. As it was written, I don't think it would work. Everybody is too convinced of deep fakes and everything. But if I were to write this today, it would be more like Elon Musk is using all of his technology and all of his satellites that he's put up to feed incorrect data to all these locations where astronomers work and their satellites and their scopes and everything. And so all of them are going to confirm that there's this massive near Earth object that snuck from behind Saturn's barreling at Earth and we're all going to die. But Elon comes up with the solution how to save it. He launches another Tesla into space that barrels at it, explodes, saves the world, and in the process rises to power. That is more believable than Project Bluebeam.
Yeah. So talking about the more plausible angle to all this versus, so one of the more so we'll switch over to the more plausible. So versus doing like fake gods in the sky, symbolism beats spectacle. So just borrowing mythic language and things like that, framing authority as protective and inevitable. And we've seen this throughout time, you know, social liberties being eroded away by framing it as this is what it's important to protect you. And that whole entire protection thing that, you know, you need to give up your rights and it's a slowly erosion versus a massive, all of a sudden we have authority.
Right.
And this has happened over time.
And I will protect you. And that's not just the U.S. We complain about here, it's been happening. That's humanity from the beginning. Name me a leader and listen to me, and I'll make sure you're fed. Make sure you're safe. It's been happening since.
From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
That's very optimistic of you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, and the idea behind that would be like positioning dissent as irrational or dangerous. That, you know, it's not, you know, rather than seeing things in the sky, it's more reliability and prefacing that way that, you know, you need to trust us to protect you. So not necessarily an alien threat or not necessarily messiahs, but more just the whole entire
idea
it's an
alien threat. It's just not like the alien threat we're thinking about.
So the next thing is rather than aliens coming and not a fake invasion, but soft disclosure. And this is kind of what we're seeing now. You know, disclosure is one of the big things that people talk about in the conspiracy communities. You know, when will people admit that UFOs exist, that we are being visited, things like that. Whether or not you believe in UFOs or not, that's up to you as an audience. You're capable of your own opinions.
Unidentified floating objects.
Identify flying objects or UAPs. Floating objects. Yeah. But, you know, we've had a lot of congressional hearings about things that Navy pilots have seen off the coast, things like that have been public hearings. So soft disclosure versus an alien invasion. That the government slowly normalizes the idea of non-human intelligence, keeps it vague, and then uses that as justification for secrecy, defense spending, and surveillance. So that's more plausible because that's actually kind of happening. Not necessarily the justification, but the soft disclosure stuff is happening. I mean, if you watch congressional hearings, there have been, I think, 3 last year.
Well, not even with alien threats. We've been doing that really, I mean, for the longest time, but in bulk. We've been doing it in bulk since the end of World War II.
Right.
Most of our advancements in the Cold War, you know, half of it, we had some intel of what they were doing and we were trying to one-up it. But there was a lot of government freaking out conspiracy theory of what if they do this, what if they do that. And we had all these different contingency plans based on wild things people imagined. And once the idea was out there, they're like, well, we can't risk it. We have to defend ourselves against that or perfect it, you know, so
yeah,
we've been doing it.
Right. But I think all of this, I mean, this whole concept of domination or whatever, I mean, I think it's driven, it has to be driven by technology.
Right.
I mean, because we just think of how organizations work. it's not feasible for someone to rule the world. Like, it'll fall apart eventually.
Right.
But as technology improves and like gives you the ability to do certain things, you know, it can make control a lot easier.
Right. And that goes with the next, plausible theory, which is advanced simulation and AI. Because that one's really terrifying. I mean, instead of holograms in the sky, AI generated videos, deep fake, expert testimony, synthetic whistleblowers, basically fabricated consensuses across platforms. And that technology already exists. The more and more AI gets better, the more and more it's harder to spot. Now, I mean, sometimes you can spot AI because AI still glitches out all the time. But there are some videos out there that are really hard to tell. And it's getting better. Now, is it perfect yet?
I saw a good tweet about this today.
Yeah.
Because there's all these videos going around about Chinese robots doing all these feats of strength.
Right.
But if you just sort of know the math, you could be like, well, it's not even physically possible based on the amount, like the weight of the thing, the amount of force it can generate, all the stuff it's doing.
All right, but
we're actually going to have to like individually get smarter.
You just applied your brain to that, and you have a brain. You have a decent one. The most I will compliment my brother, above average, I would say. Is the average person scrolling going to stop and go, hold on,
this is fake.
Calculator, cosine of 42.
I know.
The question I have about that is, if these robots are doing feats of strength, are they airing the grievances first? Or
do they have a poll?
I saw the poll. I didn't see the whole thing.
Saw the poll. Okay, good. Festivus for the rest of us.
No tinsel.
I think that's the thing. Like, common sense isn't common anymore. And again, and that's just literally what it's all about. Common sense isn't common. And then when it comes to popular culture, it's just defined by the people and what they believe. And as long as you get the masses, the majority to believe, everybody else doesn't matter. But your definition of what's going on around you is still defined by popular culture. So if we can get, a more than a majority, 51% or more people to think this is real.
Yeah. And the issue with that is that the technology is improving faster than the public's literacy about it is.
Well,
so we know that.
If you want to go down the rabbit hole and you assume that COVID was indeed a conspiracy with governments and it was man-made, then they achieved the task. They achieved the task. They lowered the literacy rates of students by 3 to 4 grade levels, which means you have people graduating high school. I will give you personal reference. I have, 3 nephews, and I have one that is in his junior year of college, has been on the dean's list 3 times. And when I ask him questions, you can see the wheels spinning, but you see that there's more research that needs to be done. And then I have another nephew who is still in high school. And when I tell you I tested him myself this summer and I wouldn't put him past the 4th grade, that is not a lie. I love him to death. Any new concept where he has to compete with others and everybody else is on the same footing, he's about it. He's doing really well. Stuff that he's behind on is the same stuff everybody else is behind on, and they don't care. And it just so happens that they're behind on reading comprehension, and mathematics, the 3 things you need to make intelligent decisions.
Yep.
But I can tell you, they know how to manipulate their cell phone. They know how to manipulate social media, and they believe what they see without question.
Right. Yeah. And another rabbit hole we don't have time for, but in that vein, at least in a lot of American schools and specifically in Virginia, critical thinking, challenging or asking why too much, unless you have a very special teacher, it is shot down.
And I have worked in a school system that is, and Newport News is considered one of the not so good ones in the area we're from. Newport News would be at the top of where I'm at. Yeah. You pick the worst school in Newport News and be at the top of where I'm at.
And what makes it even worse is, not necessarily worse, but this goes back to just the shift in and universities for the most part. And I saw an article actually this week was talking about it. And this has to do with classism more than anything else. But, for the longest time, if you didn't want to go to public school, you could send your kids to private school, of course, if you had enough money to. And that gave you a lot higher chance of getting into college.
Correct.
Now colleges have changed because of the administrations that it's actually looked at as a negative thing if you go to private school. And they're not letting people with private because you are now classist, and they're trying to diversify their populations more. So if you're in a private school, it's actually looked at as a negative thing to get into college. Despite maybe having arguably, that's up for debate, a better education. But yeah. So
now is this all just a series of bad luck and poor leadership decisions, or was it intentional? On the education topic, you have plenty of people out there pointing fingers saying it's very intentional. I mean, I won't say either way. I don't know that there's any one person or group that's that clever.
Public education was always mapped out to be one specific thing, to put people in the workforce.
Right.
And now we don't need as large of a workforce. So it's like, why do we need the education? Let people figure it out for themselves.
There's that.
So the next more plausible one is crisis exploitation framework. Less about staging events and more about just using the ones that exist. So it's sensationalizing every single thing out there. So the theory suggests that the government, rather than faking a global event, they wouldn't have to. They would just sit there and overemphasize whenever there is a pandemic, whenever there is a cyber attack, whenever there is space debris or a solar storm, it makes headline news because we just sensationalize natural occurring things and make it seem panic at all times as a way of control as well. Another plausible.
We've already covered that.
No, that's actual.
That's not a theory.
That's not a theory. It's just that's what's happening.
You watch it happen.
We're aiding in that right now in this very moment.
What's bad is, as much as I recognize it and try to be open-minded, there's sometimes I get in the rabbit hole on a topic and I'll feel myself emotionally like either getting really angry about something, and I'll stop sometimes and be like, these effers actually got me, like their goal was to get me angry. They got me angry, and I'll be mad at myself for letting it happen.
Right.
But they know.
Yes. I mean, that's very much the social media and algorithm stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's intentionally. That's what's for.
Yeah.
You mean like they're controlling your mind through a machine?
Yeah. Like if I'm on X, you stick to the stuff that you follow. The other channel, the For You, is you will get angry, and you're like, why am I angry? Like, oh, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
Like, they're just spouting off whatever they want.
Pretty much. Yeah. And then the Mac Daddy of all the credible angles it's just a psyop. Not literal holograms, just rather using giant sky projected deities and UFOs. The idea is just mass psychological operation, which is basically combining all these things together: coordinated media narratives, repeating imagery across all social media platforms, expert consensuses presented as fact, emotional priming, things like that. And the reason why this is the most plausible is because this already happens.
I mean, look at the Super Bowl.
Is it all a
look at the Super Bowl.
Effort?
Yeah.
Yeah,
modern influence warfare
pulling different strings.
Yeah, why it's plausible is because modern influence warfare focuses on perception, not physical spectacle. You don't need fake aliens in the sky if people see them on every screen that they own. Basically, back to your whole phone. You don't actually need to project anything. You just need to show it to everybody through their algorithm that it's happening, even if it's not happening. And there's been plenty of that where you'll have news stories that come out and you dig a little deeper, you realize it's completely fake. It's not actually happening, but everybody's seeing these stories that come out, and it makes you wonder, is it actually really happening or not? Like I use that, some examples where I've talked to people that actually live in different locations where there's some sensationalism stuff that happens to you. And like, no, it's not that bad. It's like not even that big of a deal. Like, but that's not what social media is telling you.
My favorite the news reports where whether it's video or picture, and they're like, this angry mob is da 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 da, and it's like really zoomed in, And then somebody
Right.
later will post a picture of that same scene, but zoomed out. And they got everybody jam-packed in one little corner. And it's 6 people like doing their little mosh pit thing. The way the camera angle is and everything, it looks like New York City is rioting. I forget what it was, but I called you one time, Jared, and I was like, hey, I read on the news that yada yada has happened. How are things going?
This was going to say.
And Jared was like,
all the
I went to
protesting.
work, I came home.
Right. It was like a couple they had a couple blocks and the police had it all cordoned off. So it's like, it was nothing.
Yeah, and everybody else.
But I mean,
business.
The best now is, because again, there's so much competition that I think that's where you do get some nuggets of truth. Because when you do the pullbacks on, say, like a politician having an event, like somebody we know,
right?
And there's like nobody there, but they packed it in all real tight to make it look like.
Our Ja Rule doing a concert and there's no one there because of 50 Cent. I don't know if you heard about that one. That was great. But yeah, just next level trolling. You buy out the.
Yeah, that didn't come across my news feed.
Yeah. Ja Rule had like a comeback tour where he booked out Madison Square Garden, sold it out, but 50 Cent bought all the 51st rows. So he showed up on stage and they're just empty. The first 50 rows were empty.
Actually does sound fair.
That's a level of pettiness I wish I could afford.
Oh man, he did the whole documentary.
So petty.
If you haven't watched the P. Diddy documentary, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is a level of petty that I would love to reach sometime in my life as well.
But anyway, so I mean, that's kind of the last credible one that I had, was just basically like there are some stuff that is happening. So, a lot of people will point to a lot of these events that are happening, whether it's the bigger ones like COVID or even like, I mean, I hate to even bring this one up, but some people point to 9/11 as a false flag event. I mean, and things like even going back to JFK assassination as a false flag event, and different things the government's tried to do as not necessarily, or coronavirus is another big one. More recently, solar flares have been, every time I never remember ever in the news as a kid ever hearing about the auroras coming down. I'm sure it did, but as a kid, I never. But now it's sensationalized all the time. Every single time it is. Like, go out with your cell phone and have it sit still for like 5 minutes. You can see the aurora borealis, and yeah, you can, but we didn't have cell phones back there neither. And I can't really see it.
Kid growing up all the way through 2005, 2006, like none of this matter. Like the only way you're going to control me is based on that television, and I had basic TV, so I wasn't watching it often. I still played outside. Like,
how many people said that there was an imminent alien invasion because of 3-Eye Atlas? Like, I mean, how many news feeds were you going on your phone and some guy was saying, like, the guy from Harvard was saying it's an alien craft coming to attack? Like, it's like I
was hoping for that.
I was hoping.
I didn't see anything.
I think we were all pretty.
It'd have been cool.
Yeah, I thought like the most recent Mayan date, like everybody kind of got more into it.
Yeah,
like, oh, this one could be the end of the world.
2012 was that the one, or which one was it?
One?
Yeah, that one was fun.
We need another one.
Again, the Y2K bug was phenomenal. Like, everybody freaked out the Y2K. Like, that was
Oh yeah,
the end all be.
But that was just oh,
there's a new one that
just looking for work.
There's a new one that just came out. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it's like it's August of next summer. But like that, there's a world-ending apocalypse type event. I saw it the other day.
Is this when Harambe comes back?
No, this is like this one's like there's 2 gravitational waves from black holes that are going to intersect Earth at the same time, and
rare
it's going to cause
total
gravity event.
Yeah,
and
a rare total solar eclipse will occur, creating up to 6 minutes and 23 seconds of darkness across the world. So causing a global apocalypse.
Yeah. So that's the next one is August.
Put it on your calendar.
Put it on your calendar. We'll stream live for the apocalypse.
2027. So
2027. Oh, that's 2027. Okay. Yeah. So there's a bunch of fun times.
I will say, of all the things that this guy put out there for this conspiracy, the only thing that is possibly believable to me is that he got a hold of some document from NASA. And this is why I think that. we've seen this in other areas. A lot of this has been released now, but every agency, DoD agencies especially, but NASA and everything, they all have documented contingency plans. What do we do in case of blank?
Right.
And there's obviously the continuity of operations, or the federal government. If the president goes down, then the VP steps up. If they go down,
Sure.
the House. That there's stuff to keep the government working, the agency working. But then they've also written things like the Army and the major branches. They have documented contingency plans for zombie attacks.
They do.
And it's since been released, so you can look at it yourself if you want. And you're like, that's ridiculous. So this means the Army believes there's zombies or a high probability. And no, not at all. It's just,
what's the guy's name?
That
did Project Z, or what was the movie? He wrote a book about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was
but essentially,
was it Z Nation or something?
The thing is, it still follows like germ theory, essentially. Like,
right. Yeah.
You could still you're still having that sort of event.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, if you read like what they would do, there's a certain population that you try to immediately safeguard, and then you kind of have to give up on the rest and hope that they survive the initial wave. And then depending on how it's spread in, you could kind of cordon off more, get a certain amount of control. And eventually it leads back into, all right, reestablish civilization sort of thing. So anyways, all that to say, is it possible, like somebody spit out some idea, well, the Soviets might do this or somebody might do that, let's have a contingency plan for it, and NASA had that somewhere in their books? Now, I doubt it would read exactly this theory that this guy came up with, but maybe he got a hold of something like that and he embellished upon it.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, there'd be many iterations of it. Like we have already covered many iterations in the hour that we've been chatting. Like,
right.
It would have been updated and updated and updated. And then somebody in NASA would have been like, well, it's already happening now. So just.
That's true.
The thing is, once he published it, a year later, he died mysteriously of a heart attack. So that goes to the conspiracy too, that he knew something and he was offed.
I tell you, correlation doesn't equal causation, right? Yes. Every time somebody drops some big news and they end up dead the next day, a large part of my brain goes, brother, was spin facts.
There's some facts.
They got him.
Yeah. And that usually, that's conspiracy theory fuel. Like if someone,
he probably ate cereal all the time and white bread and,
It probably wasn't the most healthy.
No. Nothing but bratwurst all day long.
Yeah.
That's okay. Haven't you seen they finally flipped the pyramid the right way?
Oh, what's that? I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I mean, he was relatively young. He was relatively young when he died. He was 51 when he died. So relatively young. 51. So
maybe he did. Maybe he did know more than we realized.
He seemed like a pretty anxious guy, though. That can't be good on the old ticker.
Yeah.
Have we? Has this group delved into the ratio of beards to conspiracy theorists or something? Because he does have an interesting.
His beard is out of time. So there was a time when that beard was fashionable. But it's not then, and it's not now.
It's not then. Yeah.
Right. He's the soup older than
51.
He does look older than 51, but
he lived a hard life.
But there's a whole theory about that too. How people look younger than they used to. If you look at old pictures like from the 60s of people that are in their 40s, they all look like they're in their 70s.
Yeah. And I haven't exactly been healthy I've done a lot of stupid stuff in my life. And a lot of times I tell people I'm about to turn 43 and they're like, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah. I'll look at pictures even of my parents when they're in their early 40s. And I was like, dang. What happened?
What happened?
Hopefully they don't hear this.
Oh, they used to love tanning back. I mean,
yeah.
And you'd go to the beach with baby oil.
Exactly. So any final thoughts or anything else that you guys wanted to talk about this theory? Or, I mean, obviously, I think we can say it's probably not entirely plausible that
it's not how we would have written it.
Yeah, it's not how we would have written it. There are aspects, obviously, of this theory that probably have some truth to them. I mean, but as a whole, I would call this pretty far fetched. But as aspects of it, sure. I mean, there are like we talked about, the more credibility aspects of it. Do governments want more control? Yes.
Are they willing to do shady stuff to get it? Sure.
Of course.
Yes. Just the technology. There's some of the technology exists, like AI and stuff like that. Yes, deep fakes are everywhere now.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of social media has had to rewrite their because of all the we call it AI slop. It's just there's so much of it out there. You know, where they, you know, I know YouTube, for example, if you do deep fakes and you don't disclose as a deep fake and you have someone else that's not you say something that they didn't say, that you will get banned from YouTube immediately. So yeah, it's a quick way to get banned. So that is the world we're living in. And as that becomes more and more better, the technology becomes better, you know, does this become more plausible for something like this to happen? I don't know. That's where it gets kind of gray.
The trouble is, when I talk society, I'm talking about maybe an American society. There's too many people now that are just so apathetic.
Yeah.
Like there's that joke, like if the aliens show up and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna destroy your leaders," people would be like, "Okay, cool, yeah, they're that way."
Go for it.
They live in that area.
Yeah, go there.
Can I get a picture first?
Yeah, right. So,
picture for the gram, yo. Picture
Before
for the
you
gram.
do that, can you
For the gram.
Can you wipe
Like,
out a few
hold on, the
things?
lighting was bad.
give
you
them
have
the
the
address of the IRS
technology,
building.
can you hack in and get rid of student loan debt, and as a matter of fact, credit card debt and all the rest of it? Just do that first, then go after those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really controversial show. I think it was on Netflix. Like, it only lasted one season. I think it was called Messiah. But it was basically the whole entire aspect of like, if the second coming came, like no one would believe it, and like, or he be painted as an enemy immediately because it's like what? No.
Yeah.
Right now, the aliens are like, "No, Jesus, look, they're probably sorry. Give them another chance." And he's like, "No, guys, really, they were harsh." And like after a couple more millennium, he's finally like, "Okay, fine," and he comes back, and we get him again. That's
immediately.
Yeah. I did 27 miracles. Nobody believes me.
Yep.
Yeah. He was cruise missile to the cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are like, "I saw that on a video. You're doing AI right in front of me."
Yeah.
Touch me, touch my hands.
I can see like a Messiah figure doing some kind of miracle. It's like, okay, David Blaine, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I've seen it before. Go get a show in Vegas, dude. Like, I don't care.
That don't impress me much.
I mean, there's some good magic out there.
Oh, there is. There's some good magicians.
Yeah.
They're good.
When they can do it right in front of you, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
I used to be a magician, but I lost my magic. So now I'm just Ian.
Right.
Zing.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that wraps up everything we had. As always, if you have any real information to add, please leave so in the comments. Like if there's anything like you guys, you know, your third sister's brother's uncle cousin worked for NASA and actually has the original documentation this is on, and you have access to it and you want to share with us, that's kind of cool.
We'll do a follow-up episode.
I probably it's gonna be looked through with a very skeptical lens, but we're always happy to hear everyone's opinions and what they think about it. So please leave comments, let us know, and we'll be back for more conspiracy content soon. So stay curious, guys.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. All right, that wraps up today's journey into the mysterious, the misunderstood, and the not entirely plausible. If your brain is now questioning everything, good. That means it's working. Before you go and launch 27 new browser tabs to just check something out real quick, do me a favor, hit the like so the algorithm doesn't bury this video under government-approved cat videos. And subscribe so you don't miss whatever madness we dive into next. And if you're feeling really brave, click this recommended video. It's the one the internet keeps trying to make disappear. I can't legally tell you why, but you'll see. Also, huge thank you to everyone watching, sharing, and debating in the comments. You make this chaos worth it. And extra love to our Patreon members. You're the reason we can afford microphones, electricity, and an attorney on speed dial. Seriously, you're legends. Just remember, Stay curious, stay skeptical, and as always, stay not entirely plausible.